Hi guys, so today I wanted to do a video on competition pressure, which might be a bit ironic because I am very new and have only been to one competition myself. I was inspired to make this video by Noah Arthurs, one of the videos that I saw of his, and I'll leave that in the description, and I highly recommend you watch it. It's by someone with a lot more experience than me, and you'll be more easily able to understand my train of thought if you watch that one first. So I'm going to be pretty brief and limit myself to the time it takes to show you this average of 12 I recorded. So obviously for my first competition I was pretty nervous. I was new to everything and I didn't know anyone else there. Despite this, my average was more than 10% better than my global average of 100 at that time. This is the screenshot I took 2 days before the competition, so you can get an idea of how fast I was then. Even though at the time of the competition I was averaging around 45 seconds, my official competition average of 5 was 37.77, and there will be a link to my WCA profile in the description so you can verify this. I was pretty pleased with this and I thought I'd go over why I think my competition average was better than my times at home so I can replicate it in the future and to potentially help someone else. This can obviously be applied to a lot of other disciplines involving high pressure situations. So point 1, simulated pressure. No one mentions simulated pressure in his video, and I realized that in my solves at home, I do simulate pressure for myself using the Prisma timer, which I might also link in the description. You can see your personal best mean of 3, 5 and 12, and if I find myself doing well, I'll feel pressure to continue my run to get the announcement that I got a new personal best. I find that I generally have the goal of setting a new personal best mean of 100 every time I sit down to solve. So watching the global mean and trying to get solves faster than that is another pressure adding element. So I have to agree with Noah that this definitely does simulate the need to do well at a certain point in time. So when you get down to the competition, you will have felt the feeling before and pushed through it. So it might even condition you to focus more on what you're doing. The average of 12 you're watching was the first average I did after I started recording, and whether it's good or bad, I'm going to show it to you, so there's a kind of simulated pressure there that I thought was pretty fitting. So point 2, preparation. As you saw on the screenshot I showed you, I did 200 solves 3 days before the competition, and my average was about 45 seconds. So crunching the numbers, you can see that, not including inspection and scrambling time, I spent 2.5 hours purely solving the cube 2 days before the comp. The day before, I don't have a screenshot for you, but I also practiced pretty intensely, but I made sure I didn't go to bed too late, and obviously intensely is relative, so for some people that might be quite light practicing. I knew from experience with school and with late nights solving the cube that this would reduce my focus and increase my solve times. On the day of the competition, I only did about 30 solves before my first official time. Some were slow solves on the journey there, and some were me getting used to the timers that were set out and available for competitors to use for practice. I know from practice at home how many solves I need to get in the zone, and I think it's a good idea to figure this out for yourselves and try to replicate it on the competition day. Too many solves will stress you out and leave you mentally exhausted, so yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would highly recommend getting to your first competition early and using the timers. Having some familiarity with the system greatly increased my confidence for the first solve. So in summary here, I recommend spending a significant amount of time on the days leading up to the competition, but on the day, just getting there early and doing a small number of solves to warm up your hands and get in the zone. So point number 3, comfort. Comfort to me is really about the environment you condition yourself to associate with solving the cube, and therefore how comfortable you are solving the cube in that environment. First of all, I recommend doing solves in front of your friends and relatives to accustom yourself to the pressure of having an audience. There will be a judge and other potential onlookers at the competition, such as your family. Secondly, I suggest not laying back when doing a solve in any kind of reclining chair, as this will definitely not be provided at the competition, and you might be put off by this if that's how you practice at home. Thirdly, I recommend always having some background noise on when you solve. I like to listen to, but not watch, some of the more lengthy videos in my YouTube subscription list while I'm solving, and when those run out, some kind of music playlist, usually EDM. So try and simulate the conditions you have at home as much as possible during the competition, just as Noah suggests. Point 4, negating pressure. Noah recommends you don't think about the pressure and how nervous you are. I would suggest embracing your nervousness, but not the pressure to achieve, and drawing that distinction between nervousness and pressure while at the same time giving yourself something to strive for. So for me, I was trying to get a sub 40 time. When my first solve was sub 40, it felt really good and I was excited for the rest of my solves as opposed to being nervous. So some miscellaneous tips now. Bring an extra cube and play with it in the waiting area. I picked this up from watching some fast cubers at competitions on YouTube. For yourself, it doesn't matter. This was very easy for me as my average I set could only be improved on and nobody I knew had any expectation of me. Try and convince a friend to come with you. You'll feel more comfortable if someone you feel comfortable with is there. And try and talk to some of the people there. So it should be pretty easy since you all have a common interest that you're fairly passionate about. So if they go before you and complain about bad times, it'll kind of be like your friend complaining that they didn't study for a test, and you'll feel a little bit better about your solves if that happens. So I talked to this one guy there, and who was also at his first competition, and although he was faster than me, I felt like the shared experience eased the tension. So shout out to Antonio for that. Alright, thanks for listening guys. I hope that there was some new tips that I had here and I didn't just repeat exactly what Noah's video was about. Yeah, thanks for watching again, see you later.